So tell me, what's happening? Why is Adani in the news again? Is he actually a problem entrepreneur, or is this a large conspiracy? Like, how do I see this?
Okay, so first let's talk about what Adani is, as in not Gautam Adani, but the group.
Okay.
At least since about the early 2000s, they have become the foreign investment arm of the Indian government. Okay? And this became very clear after the entire Hambantota fiasco. So Hambantota is this port in Sri Lanka, which Sri Lanka first came to us to develop. Okay?
To India?
To India.
Okay.
And what happened with India was, we said, bhai, the MEA didn't want to deal with it. They want to run point, but they don't have the bandwidth to take over an infrastructure project. Technically, it should have been handed over to an Indian company and the government should have just funded it. I mean, leave aside the fact that it was never going to be financially viable. Wo chhod do. I mean, I still think we shouldn't have touched it. But then when it went to the Chinese and the Chinese started using it as a base for submarines and things like that to spy on us, we realized it was probably not the best thing to do, and to leave very sensitive things like this to the MEA and stuff like that, who can't move. Like a government department can never move as quickly as a private company can.
Yeah.
And guess who developed Gautam Adani as the investment arm of the Indian government? It was the Congress party.
This is Sonia Gandhi Manmohan Singh era?
Sonia Gandhi Manmohan Singh era. All the accretion of power that happened to become the investment arm of the Indian government was done entirely under the Manmohan Singh government.
Is this a ethically fair play where this happens, or is this what is crony capitalism?
No, this is actually this is a tried and tested methodology across the globe. America does this a lot. It was American businesses that had invested in Hawaii and then demanded that the Americans invade and annex Hawaii, which is how Hawaii became a state.
An Indian state, an American state.
An American state, right?
Right.
This is the natural process of every great country, that the companies are always hand in glove with government. They act as, you think Ambani isn't an investment arm of the Indian government?
I'm sure.
Any Ambani investment is an Indian asset. Any Adani investment is an Indian asset. And look who these people are up against. Everywhere they go, be it Australia, be it Haifa port in Israel, be it the squash tenders now in Kenya, it has always been up against China.
So every place that Adani is ventured into has been a competitive sort of place with China.
Exactly right. And note, that is why he gets all the attacks.
You were saying, okay, so in conclusion, we are running to the end right now, but you're saying in conclusion, most of why Adani takes all this flack in the media is because China is after him for competing with them.
That's part of it.
That's part of it.
Okay. Remember, nothing is ever monocausal. We need to understand this. China is one part, and we all know how much of America is purchased by China. Essentially, the backdoor entry to America is Canada. And Canada is completely purchased by China. If you want if you had any doubts about it, look at the fact that the Foreign Interference Report is entirely about China buying Canadian members of Parliament. Justin Trudeau, still to date, 3-4 months into that report, does not want to release it publicly. He wants to talk about Indian foreign interference to divert from the Chinese money that's come in. He refuses to talk about the Chinese money that's come in. Right? And you look at the sheer number of American politicians who are, who have business interests linked to China. There's nothing you can do about it, right? I mean, China is much bigger than us economically. They're very nimble. They're very agile. They have also used companies like Huawei, BYD. You think these aren't investment arms of the Chinese government?
Sure, but they're...
Like for a long time, what is it, the Chongbulls or whatever, were the investment arms of the Korean government. The big companies were always investment arms of the Japanese government, right? It was always Japanese power, Japanese soft power doing, because Japan, renounced after the World War, it renounced foreign military intervention. So Japanese companies actually played a much bigger role after World War II than they ever had before World War II.
Sure. But I want to draw you back to the central point here. I want to understand, this may be a thing in practice, कि ऐसा होता है that, private corporations team up with the government and sort of act hand in glove in some way. Is that a well understood fact about the world? Is that an ethically sound fact? Is it something that happens like as in, Bribery also just happens to be a pragmatic reality. But
Yes.
is it an ethical truth? Is it an ethical right? We don't seem to think that.
First, let's be very clear. There is absolutely no proof of bribery
I'm
here,
using bribery as an
right?
example right now for this.
But,
yeah.
so let me tell you how the embassies here justify it. All the embassies here, now it's an OECD guideline, so Organization of Economically Developed Countries, right? Guideline, they have best practices on how to avoid bribery and shit like that. In Delhi, all these European countries and the Americans and the Australians have exceptions. You can pay a quote-unquote facilitation fee if you can show that everybody else is also paying a facilitation fee. Okay? And then you are exempted from the FCPA.
I don't want to jump to FCPA and bribery in the Adani case. I'm still trying to understand the fact that if Adani operates as the investment arm of the government, is that something that is ethically fair, or is that something which
It is completely look. It is what everybody else does.
Is there a
governments?
title for it?
All governments across the world are lumbering, slow, bureaucratic animals. They need nimble corporations to go in and fill in certain crucial gaps and roles which are simply not feasible for the government to fill in. France, for example, keeps using Total, their oil and gas company. They keep using Dassault. They keep using MBDA, which is the missile company. Dassault is the aviation company. They use Airbus. You think Airbus isn't a tool of European foreign policy, specifically French foreign policy? MBDA much more so French, even though it's a multinational corporation. Lockheed Martin isn't a front for the US government. Of course it is.
So, do these companies get an official title from the government? Are they?
No, but look, this
it's
is
an
how,
understanding.
Look, when you say it's the investment arm, does it have an official mandate? No. But is it where भाई हमारा इधर bandwidth नहीं है, तू जाके कर ले
और तू पैसा
और हम
निकाल ले।
तेरे को support करेंगे, तेरे को जो करना है तू कर ले. You know, that is the kind of thing where so the French government is like, why should we invest in oil, bro?
When Total is doing it.
No. So there is a company called Total. We'll send them to invest in your country. Okay.
Okay. So, it's a friendly private corporation.
It's a
effectively.
friendly private
Okay.
corporation.
Fair.
Right.
Fair.
And this is, and look, private-public relationships should never be adversarial. They should always be friendly with business because when your businesses invest abroad, it is an Indian investment abroad. It adds to India's balance sheet. It adds to India's GDP.
Sure. Right.
So you should always, all businesses in India should always be, they should never be kept at arm's length. They should all be treated as a tool of Indian foreign policy in that sense, which is why if you look at the allegations made against Adani, who are all the governments being bribed in this case, allegedly? Jammu and Kashmir, was under central rule at that time. Tamil Nadu, which is DMK.
I don't think we should jump to that. Tell me what is happening now. Like, hum state government pe aate. I also understand because you are in the middle of all of this. Things will be obvious to you, but for a lot of listeners, we are only beginning to hear this, right?
So look, there's been an issue in Kenya. There's been an issue with Haifa, and there's been an issue with Adani Investments in Australia as well. We'll discuss that later.
ठीक.
Right now, and there was the Hindenburg report. Okay? Right now, what has happened is that an American attorney of the East District of New York. Now, the way the the New York hierarchy works is the South District is the most powerful, then comes the East District. Okay? Now, this guy, Breon Peace, has indicted Adani for bribery. Okay? Now, indictment क्या होता है? इधर लोग समझते indicted माने he's been found guilty.
Right.
Now I want you to contrast this indictment with the indictment against Vikas Yadav, the gentleman who's allegedly, and Nikhil Gupta, the gentlemen who were allegedly supposed to have tried to kill Gurpatwant Singh Pannu.
These were the intelligence officers who were indicted on charges of espionage.
Correct.
Right.
Now, an indictment can, in the Indian process, range anywhere between an FIR to a charge sheet. Now, the indictment in the Gurpatwant Pannu case was a charge sheet level. Why? Because it had all the transcripts of conversations that had happened, the entire sequence of events, the evidence that they have against this person, the very, very specific charges and things like that. Now, If you actually have evidence in the American system, you actually list out all the charge sections and subsections under which you're being charged and you're going to be prosecuted.
Sure.
In this indictment, there is absolutely nothing.
I'm hearing...
It is just an allegation. There is no annexure. There is no specifics. And I'll come to why in a minute. And they say the SEC will conduct its own investigation. Now, you know, the SEC chairman is under heavy pressure to resign right now because he's also a political appointee. Well, he's politically aligned. So they all want him to go. He's resisting pressure to go, but he's also going to go. So this indictment, why doesn't it have evidence at all? Why did it go public just before a parliament session?
Pull the indictment. There's probably a... I think kahin na kahin mil jayega tere ko. Haan.
Why does this guy pull it out just before a parliament? Why is it that all attacks on Adani happen just before a session of parliament? The winter session's about to start right now. Right. Second, why is this indictment, which is basically a loosely worded statement, happen just 2 days after Adani announces that he's investing in a $10 billion project in America, energy project?
So you're saying it's happening right after Adani says I'm entering America as an energy company, and a day before we are about to start winter session.
Yeah.
And
this is where the two things tick off. One is the Soros angle, but the other is the China angle. The Soros angle is that he basically funds anything that's anti-Modi. Because he believes, now what is the Soros-Hindenburg model? They play off market distortions. Their market opportunity of any short seller or predatory investor like George Soros is, you look at a market distortion, you accelerate that market distortion so that you destroy the market, and in the process, you have a short selling position where you make a heck of a lot of money. George Soros, in fact, won't invest unless the risk is higher than 98%. Any risk lower than 98%, Soros does not invest as a rule.
It's a documented fact about it?
It's a documented fact.
Can you also look this up?
And what ends up happening out here is, who's his biggest competitor for energy investment in America? China, of course. Why is all green energy? The green energy market is pretty much wrapped up by China. Na? Solar, sab kuch China. Hamara khud ka solar program bhi, China is going to be supplying most of the solar panels and things like that, right? And on the other hand, you have the Soros agenda of India. Now, this is where these things intersect. Why does that particular indictment, why doesn't it even have a fraction of the detail that the Vikas Yadav Nikhil Gupta indictment had? Very simple. They are claiming that they know that these 5 state governments in India were bribed. And why it's an American concern is because an American co-investor was there with the Adanis for those projects. Now, this is apparently a violation of the Foreign Corruption Prevention Act, which penalizes American companies for bribery anywhere, except the US Embassy in Delhi can do it if it is a facilitation fee. And you can prove that other people are also doing it. Okay? Now, why? Because in India, we don't have the concept of fruits of a poisonous tree. What is fruits of a poisonous tree? It is agar I did not have just cause to come into Prakhar Gupta's house. I'm like a cop. Okay? Prakhar, tu ganjedi ki tarah lagta hai. Main aake tera, I'm going to search your house. Did I have just cause? Under American law, I did not. Just because I think you look like a druggie doesn't mean I come to get into your house or into your car and search your car for drugs or
anything else for that matter. Yeah, sure.
Now, under American law, if I saw you were driving erratically or you were smoking something in the car while driving, I can pull you over. Or even if your light was, and American law is very clear about this, if your indicator was not on while you were turning right, I can pull you over. I still can't search your
glove box,
glove compartment or your boot because I've only pulled you over for the
light
traffic infraction.
Right.
Now, during the process of that traffic infraction, if I smelt alcohol on you or smelt the smell of drugs or whatever, at that point, I can then, had I not, I just can't ask you to open the boot. It does not work like that in India. Remember.
Sure. Yeah.
ठीक है? In India, you know, even if the chain of custody of evidence has been violated, it is still valid evidence in court. It is not in America. America, these civil liberties are very strict.
Right.
Now, if the bribery has happened in India, where did America get jurisdiction?
Yeah. I want to actually ask you that because...
So first is jurisdiction. Second, how did you collect the evidence? You have the legality of doing wiretaps in America based on probable cause. You have absolutely no jurisdiction in India. So all wiretaps carried out on India are illegal and inadmissible as evidence in court in America.
Because they've not followed due process of law.
They've not followed due process. Now, I bet you they don't even have any wiretaps that they're claiming.
That's a bluff.
It's a bluff. Because had it not been a bluff, you would have seen details of it.
I actually, for a point of simplification, I am now understanding that Adani is being indicted by the DOJ in the Eastern District of New York for bribes that he has probably allegedly given to state governments in India. And it is their prerogative to indict him because a American co-investor is involved.
Correct.
It's a little bit of a reach.
First of all, it's a huge reach.
It's a huge reach for a system that will not punish its own corrupt players in the banking sector.
Correct.
And we've seen evidence of that with 2008. It's taught in every American classroom.
Throughout.
Yeah,
right. And clearest example being the New York judge who first convicted Donald Trump and now is demanding the DA throw out the charges.
But is it fair?
And the direct... So, you know, the biggest difference between, say, the Soviet justice system and the American justice system was, in the Soviet Union, anybody from the KGB could just walk up to the Leningrad hotel and say, show me your register of clients, pick, and I will do an investigation on this guy. In America, you can't do that. And yet, all the committees set up to investigate Trump were not based on any evidence or allegation. They were set up to directly target Trump and find... So it was actually even a violation of American law.
Everything.
Process, the Constitution, that went unpunished, completely unpunished, because they did not like the person.
That's it. That's the only reason.
That's it.
Because he would have caused too much noise in the system.
And because New York is a uniparty state in that sense.
Sure, it's a blue state.
It's a blue state. They all, since I think Ronald Reagan's time, they voted blue.
Yeah.
They've never voted red since Ronald Reagan. I think Ronald Reagan.
Maybe even before. Yeah, it's a conventional blue state, never changes.
Never changes. And, you know, it's a complete echo chamber. This is what they keep doing out there. Okay? They accept this. Because this is their political beliefs, they think it is perfectly justified for them to go after their political opponents because all their political opponents are fascists.
Are we, in our private pragmatic realities inside this room, supposing the cameras are off, willing to admit that probably bribery happened? Because us Indians, we're very pragmatic. We know briberies happen. I know everybody, like, who doesn't bribe? So are we willing to admit that?
Look, I'm sure the gentleman is bribed.
I mean, I don't know how you do business without bribing in India.
In India?
Yeah.
Forget India, bro. Even in
Kenya,
America.
Right.
No, even in America. Let's be very, very clear. Hunter Biden has admitted today or yesterday that Hunter Biden has admitted to taking bribes to peddle influence, yaar. I mean, forget the laptop. Now, they tried to dismiss the laptop as Russian disinformation, which we now know was all legit. All his Burisma, Ukraine dealings and China dealings, very importantly, he admits day before yesterday, or yesterday I forget because America ka wo time difference rehta hai na, unka raat hamara day hai, that the big man he was talking about was his father and $5 million went to his father. Okay, so corruption is endemic in the system.
So are you saying Brion piece, that fellow, he's trying to gather political capital by doing this? It's his style.
It is entirely political. Even when Preet Bharara went after Devyani Khobragade, it was entirely political. He wanted to show that, you know...
To his masters that, look, I'm doing my job.
Because, look, in India, it doesn't matter how much you appear on TV. It doesn't translate into votes.
Sure. We see that, yeah.
We see that. It was like this Ejaz Khan fellow who's one...
भाई वो OG है.
अच्छा.
OG है वो, हाँ. तमीज से बात करो, आगे बताओ.
तू गांजेडी है, you know. But that fellow stood and he got less votes than Nota.
Yeah.
Okay, you can have 20, 30 million followers on YouTube, Twitter, whatever.
It doesn't translate.
It doesn't translate into votes on the ground out here. In America, it does.
The American political
More
system
or
is a
less.
reality TV show.
It's a reality TV
Popularity contest. at
Right.
best, yeah.
So they all want to be on TV. They all want to make their name, and they're all looking for that one case
Right.
that catapults them to national prominence.
But do you think it's that big a deal in America? Because I don't think anybody in America is wondering about Adani.
Nobody in America is wondering about Adani except the financial press. Okay. Which is why I keep saying there is his own personal ego. There is the Soros angle to it. There is the China angle to it. Nothing is ever monocausal.
You don't think this could be a genuine indictment? See, I'll tell you what.
Look, I know a genuine indictment when I see it. When I saw the Vikas Yadav one, there were two things I saw. First was, fine, unlike the Canadian bullshit we were hearing, here is actually a trail of evidence. Give them credit for it. Okay. But it also came off to me as entrapment, which is illegal in American law.
Entrapment is?
Entrapment is you're like, oh, do you want me to kill this guy? See, a government agent cannot indict you when he says, bro, I can get this fellow killed. Do you want to give me money to get him killed?
Right. So you
There's a
basically offered the
huge
crime.
element of entrapment out there. In this one, there is exactly zero. It's a whole load of allegations with zero proof to back it up. There is zero evidentiary trail out here. And if there is an evidentiary trail, it's all completely inadmissible in court. Now also, let's talk about the people who have been allegedly bribed. All Congress or Congress-allied governments or opposition parties.
I want to get to that in just 1 second. I want to still talk about the... see, in an ideal world, I'm not saying America is by far an ideal world. But in a justice system that respects itself, which the Indian justice system does not really respect itself, right? The right thing to do in a financial market would be to find whatever discrepancies are there between reflected prices and fair prices and bridge that gap. So even if there is one American investor, the right thing to do would be to find any evidence of inflated pricing and then, bring it to justice. What I'm trying to say is, are we sure that this is not a genuine indictment where the American system is acting positively?
I know this is not a genuine indictment because I have seen genuine indictments because, American police is not like Indian police.
Yeah.
There is, and you look when they see, in America, it is based on intent. Intent is such a high bar to prove. It is because the Indian police lack the forensic ability to prove intent that they do all kinds of frivolous litigation because they can't prove intent. मैं जानता हूं इसने किया है, I will do this. Okay. In America, the proving of intent is an extremely fine art. The forensic accounting that they do, the forensic retrieval of deleted data that they do. In fact, a lot of the antitrust cases are based on proving cases where Google, Apple, whatever,
All right.
deliberately chose a protocol of not writing or speaking about things. They would go into rooms and talk only. They are even able to prove that.
Yeah. So that there's no documentation, right? Yeah. Right.
Circumstantially, they're able to prove it. Sometimes they're even able to retrieve actual, deleted calls and deleted whatever. But circumstantially, they build an extremely fine case. This is not the kind of third world investigation and third world police you're seeing.
That we are used to, yeah.
Now,
Actually,
let's look at the second name there. This Justice
Justice Nicholas G.
Garoufis.
Yeah.
I call him Garafoulis.
Judge Nicholas G. Garoufis.
Now, Google this Garoufis. This guy is also one of the most partisan Democrat Party nominated judges you will ever find.
There was also this, ki they have retrieved written parts about kitna bribe kisko diya hai, Excel sheets to that extent as evidence.
Look, you saw how they presented evidence in the Gurpatwan Singh Pannu thing, na?
No, I did not.
So they showed the photos. They showed the photo of money exchanging hands.
But that's it.
That Nikhil Gupta had given money to this DEA guy and things like that. Why haven't they put up anything out here? So, American police are allowed to lie to you during an interrogation.
And that's fair.
That's fair. Okay? Because they're like, we're trapping him into whatever.
Right.
This is a classic case of that.
So they're trapping him?
Basically, that's what it comes to. Have
To
you
put pressure, हाँ. Usko show me Nicholas Garoufis.
keep going down. Appointed by who? Bill Clinton. है ना? Now this when Trump said that there is a campaign on by the Democrats to stuff it with radical left-wing judges, he was talking about this guy.
Yeah, well, the judiciary.
All the New York judges, because they're all uniparty appointed judges, are exact carbon copies of this guy.
I don't think people understand this nuance, maybe, but the way the judges are appointed there, it changes with every president, right? Like all presidents come, they appoint some of their nominees. There's some combination.
Not some of the district judges and things like that, the circuit court judges and things like that. The Supreme Court judges get appointed, but that's a life term.
It's a very different process from how
it's
it
a very
happened
different
here.
process.
Right.
Right?
There is a political positioning possible there,
there
which is
a,
not here.
There is a overt political positioning out there.
Right.
Which then has to be played down during the nomination process, kind of. But some people don't even play it down. You know, when the Democrats, for example, have a supramajority, they will just shove in blatantly, openly partisan judges.
Right.
So even, for example, this lady who got appointed to the Supreme Court by Obama, Sonia Sotomayor,
Okay.
she's in your face partisan. Okay.
Even Brett Kavanaugh from Trump was like...
Yeah, I mean, they were openly
Yeah,
partisan.
right.
Okay, there was nothing...
Nobody's hiding that secret there.
No, nobody's hiding
pretending
that.
to be fair in that way. Yeah, right.
Okay.
Right.
So we have to first understand. So, you know, Indians have a huge problem understanding how the American justice system works. And these people are all... You will not get appointed as a judge in America unless you are overtly political and have a political sugar daddy. You also need to have a funder.
For you to be a
Oh,
judge.
yes. You
Achha.
need to run a campaign.
Achha, सब कुछ popularity contest. है.
Yes. Okay. So it's not the elected this thing, but you need to run a campaign, you know. You have to find out who's opposed to you. Then you have to go sit with them, wine them, dine them, offer them certain sops and things like that so that they won't block your nomination in the Senate or Congress or whatever. And that is how you get... It is a orchestrated... There is no judge who gets appointed that does not need a large war chest of money to get appointed out there.
Ansh, एक बार check कर if the indictment has any annexures with evidence, with strict evidence there, because, and also Google, because I remember reading that there are Excel sheets and handwritten notes recovered
Just
to the
keep going
extent.
down.
हाँ बिल्कुल, annexures will be in the end, towards the end. ये तो खैर affidavit लग रहा है. नहीं है, इसमें नहीं है. Check what evidence they have. Just Google what evidence they have. Because ऐसा नहीं है. Have you not read that, Abhijit? That there is some Excel sheets and some like written notes, scribbled notes of bribery found?
See, even written notes and this thing. Have you done a forensic test, a writing test, a DNA test? All of these things leave evidence, boss. We have seen nothing of that in the indictment.
And so it's
And
purely...
there's nothing mentioned. There's no mention of evidence in there.
So you're saying it's purely to squeeze him out of the American energy market?
It's a combination of a lot of things coming together. Mostly this is, I suspect, the real straw that broke the camel's back is the fact that the Biden administration wants to leave a lot of landmines for Trump when they come in. So, the way they're encouraging Ukraine to attack Russia direct with American ballistic missiles and with European cruise missiles, why are they doing it? They're doing it to escalate the situation.
So that Trump is to be blamed
So
later.
that Trump has to pick up the...
leftovers.
Yeah.
Yeah, broken leftovers.
They're trying to do the exact same thing out here.
What an imperfect, stupid system to let Biden still, or for that matter, any president still run after
A
they
lame
lost.
duck should not. But remember, they did this to Trump in the first term. Remember, when he won in 2016,
Yeah.
Obama, without any evidence, kicked out 70-odd Russian diplomats and sent the entire diplomatic relationship plummeting because he knew there was a bullshit a Trump dossier, Russia collusion dossier that was going to come out. And he did it to lay the grounds for the Russia collusion dossier.
It's a local...
Listen, Obama was a Jeffrey Epstein groupie, bro.
Bro, I can get infinitely into how little I trust Obama, but I'm a conspiracy nut.
But forget the conspiracy now.
Yeah, right.
We've seen Obama with Jeffrey Epstein.
Sure, but we also have Trump on record with Jeffrey Epstein.
We do.
Yeah.
Except Jeffrey Epstein was a known funder of the Democrats and shit like that.
Sure.
Right? He's that typical New York lefty, whatever.
Sure.
Okay. So these are things, it's very curious that in India, the opposition will jump at any hint of Ambani, Adani mile hue hai, Modi, Modani, and
But यहाँ की opposition isn't desperate shambles. मतलब मैं तो seriously, the reason I don't want to get into the states thing is this.
No, we have to get into the states thing because that's a very important angle of it.
ठीक.
Now, all the 5 people four of the 5. One is the post-abrogation of 370 government in Kashmir.
ठीक.
Are either Congress or Congress allies or opposition.
And aren't they jumping in Congress saying kar lo
Now
JC?
here's the thing. All of them, the Congress is very smart. They all know that had this been real, the Americans would have evidence. It is not prosecutable under the fruits of a poisonous tree doctrine in America. It is not admissible, but it is very much admissible in India.
Because there is no due process of law followed by America. Congress understands that वैसे भी indictment is not going to go through, so they're like shout.
Now, bribery is not a central crime out here. You can prosecute bribery at a state level also out here.
Sure.
Why isn't any one of these state governments prosecuting Adani?
My honest answer to this is because the state-center relationship in India is a circus. We saw this with Mamata Banerjee during the RG Kar thing. Like, I just don't trust any of this.
And why are they all going out of their way? Why has not one single Congress government put Adani on a governmental project blacklist in their state?
Because everybody's enjoying the fruits of a poisonous tree. Like, it's realistically that. Everybody enjoys it. The name changes, the face changes, the term changes. Everybody works the same system one way or the other. Like, to trust that. And I think the Indian population has gotten smart enough to be like, see, we are not trusting Congress. Nobody's really trusting them. उनको तो पता है ये चोरी करेंगे. So it's not like we think they're honest people either.
And all of this is the clown prince. Based on this indictment, zero proof indictment, he says Adani should be arrested. भाई तूने तेरे खिलाफ खुद का एविडेंस देखा है नेशनल हेरल्ड केस में. नेशनल हेरल्ड का जो एविडेंस है, इट वाज नॉट मेड बाय दिल्ली पुलिस, सो इट वाजंट द 2 कौड़ी का एविडेंस दैट दिल्ली पुलिस कलेक्ट्स. It is actually very serious evidence against him. Then apply the same barometer to yourself. तेरे खिलाफ जो है वो political persecution है. Even though we've seen the evidence and the evidence is it's available on the internet. The sequence and this thing, right?
Sure.
We've seen those documents where he himself has signed off and things like that on what rates to sell off and whatever.
Sure.
That is political persecution. This is America is some East District attorney is the paragon of truth.
Yeah, I feel like forget that, right? Like we can get into. There's no point beating a dead horse, right? That's at least become my understanding of the Indian political landscape is that the opposition as it stands today is not a serious entity. They can make some noise and they can cause some...
No. This is a lot more than not being a serious entity, Prakhar. This comes to active collusion with Chinese interests.
So you were saying that the chain of events extends deeply into the CCP and that Rahul Gandhi and the opposition are acting as spokespeople.
Let me ask you a simple question. Why isn't Rahul, despite all the political baggage it carries, why is Rahul still not disclosing the MOU that they signed with the Communist Party of China?
They have signed an MOU.
Of course they did. It was... the photo is there, na? Sonia Gandhi and Xi Jinping, I think it was Xi Jinping signed.
This is back in UPA?
UPA time.
Acha, get that MOU. Also, did you find anything?
They're not releasing the MOU. There's the photo of the MOU signing. To this day, they're refusing to release the MOU.
And that is a MOU between...
Number one. Number one. Number two. Adani has invested in lots of mineral blocks in Australia. He is the only serious competition in Australia to Chinese investment.
Sure.
The Australian courts have found nothing wrong against Adani out there. The only people amplifying the anti-Adani allegations out there are Congress people in India and Congress-aligned so-called journalists and YouTubers and whatnot. Okay. In Kenya, the two deals have been cancelled successively based on allegations, not proof. Now, who was the biggest competitor against Adani out there? China. You think China doesn't bribe?
Who are we joking?
Who are we kidding?
Like China doesn't bribe.
Listen, this is Africa we're talking about, bro.
And this is China we are talking about, bro.
And this is the MOU signing.
So this MOU signed between the Congress
Congress
and CCP.
Party and the Communist Party of China, the Chinese Communist Party.
What? Hey, pull this link. Supreme Court questions Congress. The Supreme. How is this not public knowledge? इस पे RTI apply नहीं होगा?
No, it has actually caused huge amount of political damage for the Congress, and in spite of the political liability, they're refusing to release the text of the MOU.
After the Supreme Court asked, how can you still stay silent? Is that not a writ in itself?
They just get away with everything. See, because they've got their friends in the press.
That is insane.
Right. Now,
this could be treasonous.
Now, it's
Like
quite,
could be if
it's
the text-
quite possibly treason.
What? ये तो बहुत intense बात है यार. I don't know how this flies. Number one enemy, by the way. Number one enemy.
Number one enemy.
Number one threat to existence.
Yeah. Right. Now, Kenya mein, the deal goes south. Okay. The contracts get cancelled. Why is the Congress Party celebrating?
I don't know.
He gets indicted in America. Why is Rahul Gandhi holding a press conference? You are the one that made the Adanis the investment arm of the Indian government.
Sure.
All your state governments are in cahoots with him.
Sure.
Not one state government is initiating its own investigation or whatever. Okay. Why? Because he's brought so many jobs. Adani is a huge job provider out here. He's bringing huge amounts of investment, jobs, whatever, to all these things. And you are still, in spite of all of this shit, going after him, knowing he's up against Chinese interests.
So you are implying indirect collusion.
I'm implying a lot more than just indirect collusion, bro. You know, once could be indirect collusion, but systematically, when you do it in Australia, when you do it in Haifa in Israel, of course, Haifa isn't a controversial project, when you do it in Kenya, and when you're doing it in America.
Let me offer you a counterfactual. You're saying, see, I see all these events, eventually I see a pattern, and the pattern is that there is more than indirect collusion, and, you know, this is not okay.
Look, one or two can be a coincidence.
Sure.
When it becomes a systematic pattern, I'm sorry, it's not a coincidence.
But by that same measure, one can look at the aesthetics of the Adani situation in media for about, 3 years now? And I just keep, I never hear Mukesh Ambani is involved in something. I never hear that. I never hear Tata was involved in something. I never hear Birlas are involved in something. But Adani, you can bet your money every year
The
twice.
Birlas are long since gone.
Sure. But you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Every 6 months or so, some foreign, and it's never Indian. It's some foreign agency which the opposition is motivated to represent as the paragon of truth. You know, they're an objective other. And maybe the lobby on this side, maybe the right-wing lobbies is more motivated to say, listen, these guys are not paragons of truth. They're acting in a motivated fashion. There's a political motivation to it. Adani is always in the news for the wrong reasons.
Why? Because Adani is the one guy who's up against China.
You think
Ambanis do a lot of business with China.
Adani is actively fighting China?
Correct.
On the government's behest.
On the government of India's behest, not the BJP's behest.
The government of India's behest, whether it's Modi or whether it's someone else running
in areas which are absolutely crucial.
Strategically crucial, like for instance,
minerals, access, ports. Now, what does China export the most to Africa? Infrastructure. Infrastructure building. They'll build roads, they'll build this and that. Who does that here? Adani. Problem.
And so you're saying everything from...
Ambani does a lot of services.
Sure.
Their goods are restricted to oil and natural gas. They do retail services and things like that.
Sure.
Hard infrastructure projects is Adani.
Sure.
A hard infrastructure project is an actual... You know, this is the difference between your foreign ministry and your defense ministry. The foreign ministry is esoteric. It is amorphous. Defense is hard tanks on the ground, aircraft carriers in the sea. Hard infrastructure is just that. It's like the equivalent of putting boots on the ground tanks in your land and aircraft carriers in your territorial waters.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah. No, I completely understand. As a matter of
And
fact,
that is why the caliber of threat that Adani represents, the flexibility with which they're able to operate, which a lumbering Indian state could not, which is why we lost Hambantota, is something that China has to go after.
I know for a fact that the Chinese operate in the most stealthy, conniving fashion in the geopolitical landscape. You never hear a discussion about what China's interests are.
Or when you do, like in Canada, the Prime Minister goes out of his way to suppress that report and never release it.
Right.
And he, in fact, offers it to opposition members of parliament because once they've seen the report, they can't talk about it. So he actually offers it to them in order to shut them up.
And make
He
them part of
calls
the crime.
people leaking reports criminals, but then he authorizes his own national security advisor and his foreign minister to leak to the New York Times or Washington Post, I don't know who, without prosecuting them ever, even though they come in front of a committee and say, yes, we leaked a classified document. They leaked the classified document without at any point of time declassifying that document, which in itself is a crime.
Yeah, but
and
Canada
remember,
is a
in
monkey.
Canada, the government decided they would provide COVID tests for free to everyone. And the contract went to the then defense minister, currently something else minister, Anita Anand's husband, who got a monopoly on it and he made billions of dollars. And and she will never be prosecuted for it. So understand, corruption is endemic in the West.
Sure. It's endemic everywhere.
It is
All systems operate because there's a slight level of defection. Marriages as an institution work because there is the slight charm of prostitution. Like, there is always the yin and the yang that operates in this weird way. And so to think that a land is without corruption is just stupid.
Yeah.
We are not fighting that allegation.
But that said,
right.
In this particular case, there is zero evidence of corruption. This is all, chupke baat karna, just like they did with Rafale, where there was zero evidence of corruption, but it was a whisper campaign against Anil Ambani, but it was still a coordinated, concerted whisper campaign, which was all BS.
And these work.
Of course they work, because you're dealing with speculators in the market.
Yeah, it
who will
crashes
sell
the prices, yeah.
But, what has happened is, if George Soros was looking to exploit market distortion, he's met his match in the Indian market. Because the Indian investor knows that the Adani stock is going to keep climbing because it's not a BJP asset, it's a national asset. So they know, jaise hi girta hai, jaake kharido.
Yeah, because the base product is
So even
trustable.
his basic... and look, it's a solid company, bro.
that's
When
what I
you
mean.
have
The base
hard
product is-
assets on the ground.
Yeah. You have ports, you have energy equipment. Yeah.
You have airports.
It's not just your reputation. You're
It's
selling
not
at
just
that
your
point.
reputation.
Yeah. You're
Right.
selling hard material.
You're selling hard material, right? And I think Adani is the rock at which the George Soros Titanic is going to sink.
You don't think that Adani's phenomenal rise, he came out of nowhere. Part of the reason why people think he's a BJP asset is also because he rose to prominence in the BJP era.
No. He rose to prominence. You look at his two biggest jumps of money power. It happened under Rajiv Gandhi number 1 and Manmohan Singh number 2.
Rajiv Gandhi back in the day. Achha.
During the Rajiv Gandhi Singh Narasimha Rao period, and second was during the Manmohan Singh Sonia Gandhi period. He rose to being a reviled figure during the Modi period because the only way of attacking Modi is to attack the India growth story. And who is the foreign investment arm of the government?
Adani. At what point?
This is the kind of danger. This would have not been done by a Rajiv Gandhi opposition. It wouldn't have even been done by a Mulayam Singh opposition.
You're saying that
This is a very unique feature to a Rahul Gandhi opposition, which is this sort of scorched earth. He is like an incompetent Attila. Attila Dahan was a very accomplished general. He's an incompetent Attila Dahan.
he will destroy anything and everything to his. Is that what you're saying?
Because it's the anger and frustration of impotence. You've lost 3 elections in a row.
Okay. That's what you mean.
Okay. Invariably, what happens is in a marriage, if the man is impotent, he turns into a violent wife basher. Right? That's exactly Rahul Gandhi. He's politically impotent and he's turned into a sadomasochist, essentially.
So he's hurting India's interests because he cannot have the bride in a way, right? Right. It's a very, I mean, I from where I'm sitting, I don't know if it's a young people thing, if it's a me thing, I just trivialize it. I feel like the opposition in India is largely a joke at the national level. And it's not just this opposition. If in the future the ruling party changes, the opposition that is left with is just conveniently picking issues that brings them in the media light, that puts them, centers them, right?
But Prakhar, look, there are serious issues in this country which need attention. Okay, in India, we don't invest in human beings, we invest in building an infrastructure. The actual human investment, even the skilling program and things, the level of skilling provided is pathetic. Okay?
Of course,
the malnourishment problem, not everybody is built like you or me.
Super real.
Most Indians are stunted.
Sure. Malnourished, their growth is small, lesser, brain sizes.
Cognitive abilities are... Who's
That's a real problem.
That's a real problem.
Yes.
Water is a real problem.
Right.
The fact that we're losing so much water, that so much of it is lost in transit, it is wasted, things like that is a real problem.
The air.
Pollution is a real problem.
Yeah.
And everybody is waltzing around the real problem. Even the Supreme Court doesn't have the guts to actually crack down on what the real problem is.
I don't know why. What is so wrong?
And mind you, when the Supreme Court does, the Delhi government goes, it tells its own farmers in Punjab, ki burn it. See, they're using NASA satellite photos which fly over between 2 and 3 p.m. So you burn early in the morning or late in the evening. They get caught out 2 days later using Korean satellites which are flying every 15 minutes. And there are no consequences for it for lying in court.
But here's the thing. I asked this to Minister Piyush Goyal as well. I was like, is India a victim of political revenge? Like constant political revenge that the Aam Aadmi Party will try to inflict on the BJP will try to inflict on the Congress, and so on and so forth.
But tell me, who is the BJP trying to inflict it on?
I mean, they're the ruling party. They don't have to bother. They will be the receivers of political revenge from other people.
Right, but tell me, who does this pollution benefit? Does it even benefit up?
It's so inhuman. It benefits nobody. The worst hit of all are your elderly and your kids. Yeah. And everybody has elderly or kids at home. What are you thinking? This is not political capital.
They're not thinking.
Yeah. What
it's
the hell?
It's just that nobody wants to take the tough decisions of breaking the farmer's back.
And that's where it is.
That's where it is.
You're convinced that that's the reason? Because when I asked, I don't know if he kept this in the podcast, but when I asked him, he said, listen, there's a lot of reports. We don't know for sure what the source of this pollution is. Are we sure it's parali burning? Can we put a pin on that?
Look, there are many sources of this pollution.
Sure.
Okay, one is cars.
Sure.
Cars, trucks, all of that.
But that can't be too much because Bangalore has more cars.
Bangalore has more cars. Bangkok has a much higher level of cars.
Sure.
And when I was in Bangkok, the pollution level was between 12 and 15.
Can you imagine?
It's a joke.
It's a joke. Right.
Okay.
We would laugh, we would celebrate, we'd actually hand out sweets if it was that here.
Exactly right. The second source of pollution is on occasion of Diwali firecrackers.
Sure.
Which always is going to be
2-3 day window max.
It is a 2-3 day window max. Okay.
And we saw it this time that it did not really spike it up that much.
Right.
Even though the firecrackers were more this year than last year.
Exactly. The third is construction.
Sure.
Construction and lack of pavement and a lack of green cover.
Right.
Now, what that does is, especially in India, because it's such low-grade, low-level construction, technically, if we are talking about Vishwaguru Bharat and things, we should have moved into prefab. There should be no on-site construction allowed. You should be all girders and prefab sheets being put and double-glazed windows and things like that, fabricated in factories and simply assembled on the spot, not built on the spot, being done. This is a huge source
of dust pollution, but not like
particulate matter.
Okay, sure.
Because there's fine particulate matter even in construction.
Sure.
Okay. The fourth, why is it that it only spikes during parali season? Now, in a test tube, you always have one control and then 2-3 other experiments because the same result has to be replicated in all 4.
Sure. Right.
Now, the only variable out here is the parali burning. Why is it that when parali burns in Madhya Pradesh at the same time, I was in Bombay till yesterday, Bombay, bro, you can't see it. It's like blanketed in smog.
Really?
Yeah.
I was in Bombay last week. It was fine. It was so much better.
Ask Vinamra. It was blanketed in smog.
Worse than here.
not worse. I mean,
Oh,
nothing
sure,
can be
sure,
worse
sure.
than here,
Sure,
because
sure,
this
sure.
is like we're at the receiving end of this.
We are
thing,
in Dante's
right?
hell here.
We're in
Huh.
Dante's hell.
Right.
Because see, they have the sea, so the air has a place to escape. There is always wind happening because of the sea and things like that. Why? It's because of MP Parali burning. Okay. It is now a chronic problem. But nobody deal with it. There are solutions to everything.
And so you're saying that this is partly the pollution, because what a weird fact to admit that it's only because of the politics of Punjab and the sort of backbone that the farmer economy provides to areas of Punjab and Haryana and such that has led
Look,
to
the
us living-
Punjabi farmers are killing their own kids. This is the second time they're killing their own kids. The first time they did it was to take all these chemical fertilizers. They poisoned their own ground soil, which is why Punjab has the highest rate of cancer. The Green Revolution belt is the cancer belt of India, and especially Punjab is the cancer capital of India. And they're doing it again to their own children.
Wow.
You know, it is this sort of
And there's no
self-mutilation.
there's no judicial, there's no intervention possible. Do we have to tolerate this forever? Like, what the
Yeah,
hell is
you
happening?
do. Because the BJP isn't interested in cracking the whip. The AAP isn't interested in cracking the whip. The Supreme Court isn't interested in cracking the whip. Everybody's going around in circles because it's basically pass the buck.
And I've heard some whataboutery about how the geological formation of this area invites for dust storms, and Baburnama also mentioned.
भाई जब
But
हम
that's-
बच्चे थे
हाँ,
तो
तब नहीं
used to
होता
be- the dust storms होते थे.
ठीक हाँ.
Every
आंधी
year.
कहते हैं उसे यार.
हाँ, no, it used to be proper dust storms.
Right.
One or two times a year in summer used to have dust storms.
Sure.
Okay. Understand, this is not a dust storm. This is a perpetual haze over North India, over the Indo-Gangetic plain that gets a lot worse during Parali burning.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Now, Parali is very clearly one of the most important causes. Construction is another cause. Construction is a very easy solution that I've told you.
Sure.
It will actually skill the worker. If you're serious about the skills mission, why can't you take all these laborers, put them into a factory and teach them how to set and assemble the prefab material?
Sure.
It takes it to a much higher level of human endeavor.
Skill level
Okay?
also. Yeah. Right.
You won't even do that. So I'm giving you something that solves your national skill mission ka this thing.
Purpose.
Plus your construction and your pollution. You don't want to do that. The Parali burning is very clearly this thing. First of all, Punjab is growing crops it was never meant to grow.
Yeah.
Water intensive crops.
Right.
And then mind you, nobody wants to talk about the eucalyptus.
What is a eucalyptus?
The eucalyptus, bro, when you go in Israel, they'll tell you each one eucalyptus tree planted dries out 1 acre of marshland. That is how water hungry they are.
Right. इसको हिंदी में क्या कहते हैं यूकलिप्टस को?
I don't know.
अशोका कहते हैं शायद. नहीं, these are the trees that are planted just cause on the highways and stuff.
दिखाना भाई यूकलिप्टस क्या होता है? ये tree, it is there on every roadside, Delhi, Haryana, Punjab,
Yeah.
everywhere.
And this was a mistake because it's a very heavy water taking tree.
It is a water genocide tree, bro.
Right. Nilgiri. Acha. No, I know which ones. And they're also very flammable, no? These trees?
Are they?
I think so.
I mean,
Maybe I'm confusing
the
it,
outer
huh?
layer burns in forest fires,
Right.
and then they rejuvenate because Australia has forest fire season every summer.
Oh, right.
They're
Okay.
Australian native trees.
right,
They were never meant to be in India.
And that has really sucked
These
the
are
table.
these are complete predatory trees. Okay, now let's bring this back to where Adani is.
Right.
This is a classic case of when there is so much policy malfunction. Rajiv Gandhi and Manmohan Singh had the vision to turn one or two private enterprises into overcoming this kind of chronic governmental dysfunction. The son is busy trying to undo what his own father and mother's
uncle.
government did.
Right, sure.
Right? Why?
Because he just wants to win that bad? It's the most basic explanation. You think it's a fair explanation? People are more complex.
People are more complex, but you know what they say, the simplest explanation is usually the most accurate explanation. You don't have to search for complexity where none exists.
And honestly, having said that point about the Indian opposition, I think it's also very true that in America, anything that happens until January is
See,
complete
America
BS.
wasn't like this. in the 90s and early 2000s, America wasn't like this. It's turned into this vicious, toxic. I'm opposed to it just because the Republican says so. And
It's become religious.
It's become religion.
The political affiliation
has.
there, bro, like I'm telling you this as a matter of fact, you cannot date or marry interpolitical affiliation. Very much like you cannot date or marry inter-religion in India. Yeah. It's the same kind of fear. Oh, what? You like a Trump supporter? Like that's the kind of conversation I've come across. And so it's a very thick line that divides all Thanksgiving dinners.
Understand. In America, when you're told Adani is the high priest of Trump and his local incarnation Modi, and Trump is their high priest who's sacrificing young kids at the altar of Trump, and tomorrow you go to America and say Adani is literally taking Democrat babies, putting them on a fire altar to Modi and Trump, slitting their throats and
they would believe it.
They will believe it.
Yeah, and very much like the caricature applies reverse also, na? That these are blood drinking Satanists, right?
It is that exact same blood libel that used to be applied against Jews who were what? Financiers and builders.
Back in the day.
See, it's very easy to smear a creator. तुम खुद करके दिखाओ तुम्हारी औकात क्या है, नहीं कर पाओगे. And that's exactly what they've been doing.
You think Elon's going to be like a private corp that's friendly for America in the space race?
But it's always been a private corp that's advanced American interests, bro.
You're saying universally also, historically also, it's been private corps that have run America?
Private corps made America what it is.
I think that's
private corps made Britain what it is.
East India Company.
East India Company wasn't an entity of the British Empire. The British Empire was an entity of the East India Company. People have forgotten how much it was. The East India Company ran the British government at one point. It was the 1857 rebellion, because they got so rapine and bankrupted themselves. The 1857 War of Independence was the first thing that broke the camel's back.
Right.
After which they declared bankruptcy and the British government said, we're dissolving you, we're absorbing all your assets.
That's when the crown stepped in.
That is when the crown stepped in.
Yeah, even legally, the crown stepped in then and said, listen, we will change laws everywhere. We will
exactly, and that is why it went from being the Governor General to being the Viceroy.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And it was very, very clear government stamping its control. Historically, you look everywhere. It has been private corporations that have led the push for external expansion. All the slave trade that led to this thing was done by a private corporation. All the colonialism that happened in Africa was done by private companies. Colonization of India was done by a private company.
But that was a mercantilist era. Like that was the era when trade...
The great American invention was that it became capitalist. Now we need to separate mercantilism from capitalism.
Right.
Okay. Mercantilism mein kya hota hai? Britain needs to produce XYZ. The markets only need to consume British goods. So you're creating captive markets. Capitalism is different. Capitalism is, I am producing XYZ, nobody wants it anymore, or it's too low value for me. So I'm going to push it to other friendly production to other friendly countries, and I'm going to move up the value chain and produce new things. So it's a huge Britain, and this is the mistake that a lot of Americans make. They confuse British mercantilism with American capitalism. The problem right now is that in America, you have a whole takeover by Chinese money, number one, which is distorting the market. Your production is so dependent on China.
Right, you can't fight.
Which is again a market distorter. You are so dependent on Chinese consumption.
You just can't fight.
You can't fight.
You can't have a fair argument with China anymore.
Your products are coming from there. Your products are going there.
Right.
They're the biggest purchaser of Boeing, Airbus and all of that, all the high-tech products. They're the biggest supplier to your bulbs and cheap...
No, China's inserted themselves beautifully in the value chain.
Correct.
Unignorable.
It is a complete backdoor takeover.
Yeah, right. Okay. And nobody knows, nobody wonders. Everybody says Putin. Nobody thinks of Xi Jinping.
Nobody. And why are they... So, officially, Xi Jinping is like, Putin mera bhai hai, we're getting closer to Russia and all of that. There, they're like, don't focus on us. Keep what Justin Trudeau is doing to protect China by focusing on India.
Right.
In America, China encourages to be done to Russia.
Right. Russia is the scapegoat.
Russia's the scapegoat. Focus on Russia, focus on Russia. And it suits the Europeans beautifully because the Europeans think they've always been the center of the universe.
Right. And Russia is their mortal enemy.
Now, understand, in India's case, they don't want you to focus on China and what is happening. India becomes the scapegoat.
I see.
So Adani is to India what India is to Canada and what Russia is to America.
You don't think this indictment will fly though?
Boss, ye indictment, it will be dropped by itself.
So it'll crash. It's made news.
The moment this guy, Brion Peace or whatever his name is, he's going to be dismissed on day one of the Trump administration.
Right.
And this indictment will go absolutely nowhere. Okay. There is a smell test. After some point, which American indictments are serious and which ones are not. This is not a serious indictment. When US or European indictments are serious, companies comply with them proactively. Cut. For example, I am a great beneficiary. You see this?
Oh, the iPhone wala thing.
This is the USB-C. It is no longer that idiot Thunderbolt or Firebolt or whatever.
Which they were trying to, so that
which they were
create
trying
their
to
own ecosystem.
Thanks to the EU legislation on it, they brought an American company to its knees. Europe was trying to bring Elon Musk to his knees over X because he was showing content that they did not want shown.
Right.
And now they said, we'll threaten to call you and prosecute you. And now he's saying, you're threatening an American citizen. I will have your members of parliament called over to America and prosecuted.
Because he's got leverage now.
Now he's got leverage.
Yeah. So it's a political battle with Elon. Deeply political.
Why don't we understand this? Everything today is just pure partisan. It has always been politics. The problem is those partisan nails are out so much. The polarization is so great that everybody believes only what they want to believe.
Sure. No, I know. You can use media in a way to create a fantasy that all of us inhabit. We don't see the other side. It's very visible in a country like America, in a city like New York, at a university like the one I went to. Because you can just live in complete parallel realities with the same facts. Yeah. And that happens here as well. That happens religiously. That happens politically. That has a global phenomena. And I honestly feel like from this point on, all the way until Trump is in power, everything that will be done to cause obstacles to what is going to come, the new administration.
The Adani thing is the landmine that they've planted with India.
Sure.
The ballistic missile usage and cruise missile usage by Ukraine is the thing they're planting for Trump in Europe.
Right.
I don't know what they'll plant for him with China, but they will.
Right.
They will also plant something for him with Iran and the Middle East. I don't know what it's going to be, but they will.
How is there... Okay, first of all, what has happened in Ukraine?
And mind you, they're again trying to revive Russia collusion. They're trying to link everything to Russia in Trump.
No, but what the hell? How in the world are you allowed to just start World War III on everyone's behalf just because you lost an election? That's the messaging I get from them giving Russia...
But remember, the American presidency is a very Augustan system. Now, the thing is, the Roman Republic lasted for a long time because as dysfunctional as it was, all the factions within the Senate used to check and balance each other. Every year a new leader would be elected and it always used to act as a balance. Okay? Augustus changed all of that. He centered all power on himself to the point that the Roman Empire would prosper if it had a great emperor. It would start declining if it had a bad emperor.
Sure.
It took almost 150-200 years till Gallienus enters for that to change, or almost 300 years for that to change. And Gallienus reduces the power of the emperor and he gives all the local... It created new problems, different problems where, the local commanders became... So, parts of the Roman Empire actually broke away.
Sure.
There was Gaul became an independent province and things because the commanders had so much power they could just break away from the empire.
Sure.
It created different problems. The problem here is the president has so much power out there. They can just leave these landmines everywhere and there is no concept of a lame duck president, just like there is no lame duck prime minister here.
What does that mean?
Lame duck means ki once you are the election code of conduct comes in, you're not allowed to take any major decisions. Here we've actually codified it. There is no such codification.
Yeah, right.
Right. So for those 3-month period of the takeover.
Right. It's all guns blazing.
And by the way, when this thing happened, when what was his name? George Bush took over from Bill Clinton. Clinton's staffers actually removed alphabets, these things from keyboards in the White House, so that George Bush staffers couldn't type.
Just out of spite, huh?
Just out of sheer spite.
It's so dumb. Like, what the hell?
But see, that's still better.
Of course it's so much better.
Now understand the difference. It was fine if that is all that Rahul Gandhi was doing to Adani. The problem is he's doing, and there was this delegation that came down to meet Rahul where they told him the best strategy for him was to polarize.
Where did that delegation come from?
I forget that exact name of that.
Wait, this is a delegation that came from where?
Soros delegation.
And it's an international folk delegation that came and told him
these
to
international
polarize.
Political strategists.
Polarize harder. And when was this?
This was sometime before the 2024 elections. And he believes it worked. Of course, again, all victory and defeat is multi-causal.
Sure.
In this case, it was too much hubris and it was a lack of RSS on part of the BJP.
Yeah,
okay?
right.
Along with
some caste
I'm
angles.
sure the polarization worked to some level.
Sure.
But the problem is if you say Dhruv Rathi is what won Rahul Gandhi. Rahul Gandhi didn't win. Let's be clear about it. The BJP still won the election. But it's a victory that feels like defeat. And Rahul Gandhi's defeat feels like a victory to him.
No, Rahul Gandhi won self-esteem points for himself.
Yeah, right. His own little Alice in Wonderland.
You have to give him
world.
he can feel happy about the fact that he slightly did better than last time because nobody has a lot of expectations.
अगर एग्जाम 100 मार्क का है उसमें
18 से 22 भी
5 मार्क लेना और 9 मार्क लेना
is a 50% 100% increase, bro.
Is still you are still single digit, bro.
Sure.
This is not the difference between getting 45 and 90% in a exam.
Sure.
You still lost.
Sure.
And now you've lost Haryana, which is one financial center. There are 4 main financial centers in India. 2 are controlled by the Congress, Hyderabad and Bangalore. The 2 northern ones are Bombay and Gurgaon. You've lost both Bombay and Gurgaon.
I don't know how
the road to recovery of Delhi was through Bombay and Gurgaon. If you controlled all 4 financial centers, you could have starved the BJP of funds.
Right, sure.
You failed.
Yeah, I don't know how they won in Maharashtra. Matlab, mere ko yaad hai, when I was talking to Minister Goyal as well, I was talking to him, I was like, you really think you'll win? And they're like, we'll win. I was like, no, you guys are not going to win. It doesn't look like you'll win this election. But I was so wrong.
So the thing is, in Haryana, the RSS had only 1 month. The rapprochement took that long for Modi to do the rapprochement with the RSS. They had 1 month and look how they turned it around.
It's insane.
Right. And it was such a narrow, it was literally by a whisker.
Right.
In Maharashtra, they've had 3 months. And you're seeing the result of those 3 months.
Nobody expected.
Yeah.
But I think to some extent, our podcast with Minister Piyush Goyal definitely contributed.
I'm sure it did.
I'm going to flex, bro. What the hell, bro? What the hell? We flew out specifically for it. I want to get to actually the footage. Can you pull up the footage from what's happening in Russia and Ukraine? So to give a long story short to people that do not know, I think Biden administration in one of their last decisions has allowed Ukraine to start firing at Russia with missiles. Yeah. Specific missiles. What kind of missiles?
ATACMS. CAMS nahi, ATACMS.
But wo yahi hai na?
So now, look at this. Click on the first photo, please. See, it comes out. This is like, a multi-barrel rocket launcher. You can see 6 barrels in the second thing there.
Yeah, wo truck se piche se nikal raha hai.
Yeah, it's a small missile.
ठीक.
But it is ballistic. It is nuclear capable.
इसमें nuclear fit हो सकता है.
हो सकता है.
Wow, okay, wow.
Now, the problem with this missile is, just like as it is for, say, the Storm Shadow missile, just bring up Storm Shadow. Storm Shadow missile. Image. This is a cruise missile. It is subsonic, very long range. Okay?
Okay.
And if you bring up the first photo, because that is a relative thing of the size of the missile, both these missiles carry a few 100 kg warheads.
Okay.
They both can be nuclear armed.
Okay.
Now, precisely for that reason, they are seldom nuclear armed, but they were devised initially to be nuclear armed.
Sure.
The problem with both these missiles is all the targeting information has to come from America or Europe.
Where to target is information that's going to come from America or Europe.
Exactly.
Okay.
Those targeting coordinates have to be fed in there.
Sure.
Now, when it is a conventional weapon, you provide them with intel. The order goes out from the local commander. The intel is forwarded by the local commander to the artillery guy or whatever, or this thing, and ye hota hai. Here it is NATO directly feeding targeting coordinates to a Ukrainian launch decision. So it is effectively NATO targeting Russia.
So, how in the world are they taking Putin so non-seriously?
They're taking him very seriously. The problem is they're doing exactly what Rahul Gandhi is doing. If I can't have it, I'm going to burn it.
Bro, if Putin puts his mind to it, he'll wreck.
Now, the
Eastern
Europeans hate Trump. Why? Because Trump
is America
does
first.
not believe in Europe.
Sure.
He does not believe that Europe is the center of the universe.
Yeah. He believes he's the center
now
of the
let's
universe.
let's be clear about this. Even the richest country in the richest real economy in Europe, I'm not talking about oil economies like Norway or money laundering economies like Liechtenstein.
Sure.
I'm talking about real, or Luxembourg. Real economies in Europe like Germany are poorer or equal to the poorest state in America. Alabama or Mississippi. Okay? And yet, they think they can talk down to America in terms of norms and rules and things like that. And there is a whole bunch of European liberals, especially, and there's much more so with the partisan divide. America at one point did not take European ideas seriously. They would allow, we come up with the ideas, Europe propagates those ideas, they're allowed to own those ideas, but we come up with them. Democrats look at Europe because it's going down a socialist bureaucratic hellhole that is the European Union.
Sure.
They see it as the center of the universe because they're seeing all their, fantasy experiments play out.
That's their source. That's their ideal world. That's
That is their
home
ideal.
empire. Yeah, right.
Exactly.
Yes,
This
yes.
is this, it is like my people, the so-called Brahmins. We still think we are white Ukrainians,
You look like a white Ukrainian.
I look like a white Ukrainian.
Yeah, I could see that. You could be sacrificed at the war line as well.
I have blonde hair and blue eyes, as you can see.
Sure.
So, the thing is, this is this classic case where the Trumpistas and the Republicans are like, no, America first.
Sure.
And they see the real center of gravity having shifted to China and they want to deal with China. Now imagine how bad that is for Europe. Because Europe was built post-war by the Americans. It was American investment. The Cold War and the Korean War that built up Europe. The war demand of the Korean War, the war demand of the Cold War, and American investment that rebuilt Europe. It is that same priority given to Europe that keeps Europe afloat. Now, America says, bro, you are old news. Russia's a pathetic little $1 trillion economy. It's not worth my time. I'm going to go deal with China now, which means I'm going to create an Asian NATO. I'm going to pump money into Asia. Turn the whole of South Asia and Southeast Asia into my Asian NATO. ठीक है, NATO की तरह exact alliance नहीं बनेगा, but something very similar, which is so economically lockstep with us. It may not be a NATO in name, but it will be a NATO in effect.
Sure. That's what the new America, the Trump America wants to do.
Right.
Right.
Europe wants to prevent that.
Because they stop being special.
Because they stop being special.
Money stops flowing.
And the moment you stop being special, the money stops flowing.
Sure.
You understand?
Right.
Well, not all of it, of course.
Sure.
The decline is a long, slow decline.
No, it's been happening 100 years now.
Yeah. It is natural that it will go that way. Now, Soros does not understand too many Asian markets. He understands few. He understands market distortions, for example, in Malaysia and things like that. In India, you're seeing his repeated experiments aren't yielding results. Right? He's trying, but he can't. So there is a democratic ideological interest. There's an actual financial interest. He can't touch China, realistically speaking, even though that is the most distorted market. Okay? Japan is not a distorted market, but it's very poor. People don't realize how poor Japan has become. Okay?
It's not grown for 20 years.
It
it's
has not
stagnant
grown for 20
economy.
years.
Right. Their USP is lost.
Japan is poorer than the poorest state of America, much poorer.
Sure.
Israel today has twice the per capita income of Japan.
I can
Almost
imagine, yeah.
twice. Okay. So it's one of those things, but they are still formidable. People tend to forget how formidable Japan is. Korea, for all its things, if you go to the Pentagon, they'll tell you, look, there's nothing Korea produces that we can't do by ourselves. Japan, yes, they still have technologies
That we don't know how to do.
that we don't know how to do or we can't do. So, for example, nuclear. Why was Japan's acquiescence so important in the India-US nuclear deal, even with the French-India nuclear deal? Is because all Western reactors, the reactor dome, the containment dome inside, not what you see outside, but inside, is built by Mitsubishi Heavy Electrical.
Acha.
And can France or America do it? Sure, they can. There is no economies of scale for them to do it. If they set it up, it's going to be fantastically expensive to do it.
So they'll just drag Japan along.
Yeah.
Ki instead of building it ourselves, let's just drag, we'll deal with it, whatever.
Exactly.
Right.
Now, so you understand, this is where, again, the Chinese interest is to not have a Asian NATO. They want to push everything towards Russia.
Sure.
Soros's interest, China's interest, everything democratic ideological interest, everything start intersecting out here.
My thing is, I've listened to a little bit of Putin, and I know I was not alive for the great Soviet days of Russia, right? I don't remember when Russia was, I have no memory, I have no way of having a memory where Russia was an active evil power trying to destabilize the world.
I remember Russia. It
Yeah.
was my home. I love Russia. I
Maybe
miss
you're
the
a spy.
USSR.
Maybe you were a Soviet spy.
You know, I actually used to walk into KGB headquarters and demand to be recruited.
Really?
Yeah.
Did
Because
they
I want-
actually recruit
because
you?
I-
actually?
No, yaar, they used to be like, and you know, the Russians used to be like, yaar, hum darte hain going inside Lubyanka.
Huh.
Ye kya hai? This is fellows like, and they used to find it very amusing.
Right.
कि like ये क्या है ये अच्छा ये फिर से आ गया ये black fellows here again to try to get recruited.
You should have
Because-
said, I'm Ukrainian, what are you doing? Look at me properly.
Yeah, I didn't know. That wasn't my spiel at that time.
I'm Aryan, what is wrong with you?
So you look at it.
Huh?
Why is George Soros so vitriolically anti-Russia?
Because?
Because a lot of his interests are based on Chinese manufacturing.
That's what I was trying to get to. मेरे को लगता है China is a much
Russia
more active... Huh.
has no hold over George Soros. China has a huge hold over George Soros. George Soros can't afford. So this is where there are so many interests that get linked. I mean, tell me, honestly, you are a businessman. Most of the high risk, high tech industry you want to invest in, China is the biggest market. So, for example, self-driving cars, the Chinese have made it based on Western technology. They bought Volvo and things like that. They're driving electric technology, which turned out to be a trap, by the way. I'm not going to go much into detail on why electric was a trap. They've probably lost a lot of internal combustion engine expertise that they could have gained. But anyway, they've gone there and they're doing a fantastic job with electric cars. They've gone into self-driving cars now, etc., etc. How is it not in George Soros's interests to keep investing in China? He needs to keep the Chinese market afloat. He can't allow the contradictions to blow up, which are the contradictions of, too much construction, ghost cities, too much speed trains, which have no takers really. They're all running at a loss.
Sure.
Huge loss. Unrecoverable debts. 1 trillion for trains, almost 3 trillion for construction. That's going to wipe out most of China's GDP. This is the problem when you have predatory investors like Soros. And it's in China's interest not to sink. I mean, this is an obvious interest.
Sure.
You want to create a bogeyman, so create Russia, create Modi, create Adani, etc., etc. It prevents China from becoming the center of attention, containment,
Yeah.
opposition,
Right.
everything to prevent China from being declared enemy number one.
Right.
And keep the focus on, Modi's gas chambers, Putin's crazy fascistic Nazi invasion.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think... I remember listening to Putin when he said, listen, I'm finally going to go into Ukraine because I've been saying for a while, don't bring NATO to my doorstep. Don't bring NATO to my doorstep. I will have to act. I want to remain passive.
Now, it's very interesting, the explanation that Europe gives for this, Europe and America. Okay? They're like, bro, Ukraine is a sovereign country. They can do what they want. Now,
But that's saying nothing at all. That's the most obvious thing you can say. It's like, this is a person, they can get up and walk themselves. Like, you said nothing. Yeah.
you've said nothing.
Yeah.
But let's take it this way. Assume I'm a straight man for a minute. I know it's difficult, but anyway, I'm a straight man. And
Wait, the world has shifted. It's the Mandela effect. Yeah, sorry.
And your wife is unhappy. She comes to me.
Damn, this world does not exist. Let's be real. We can't take this joke anymore.
Bro,
what are you saying?
bro, you're an ugly black native savage. I'm a white European.
Bro,
Bro,
for the sake of the example, at least be realistic.
No. I am white with blonde hair, blue eyes, very handsome and manly.
Regardless, bro, it's a personality.
You are effeminate, black, whatever.
But you're
Okay.
describing yourself now.
Abhi, chup hai.
Sorry. Let's focus.
Now, there is your wife comes and says, Abhijit, I want to sleep with you.
Sorry. Okay. Keep going.
Chup hai.
I'm not going to laugh.
This
I'm
is
not gonna laugh.
homophobic.
Yeah.
Okay. Now,
Yes, Brian, please.
you are my friend.
Sure.
Okay. Fine. She wants to sleep with me. मेरा क्या है कि मैं भी हाँ you have a right to sleep with me, therefore I will sleep with you, and I am willing to risk burning my bridges with you.
Yeah. But you made a very
Now
complicated
Ukraine,
example. Yeah.
so Ukraine came to you saying मेरे को Ukraine NATO join करना है. भाई तेरा दिमाग का क्या हुआ?
You should say no.
You should say no.
You should respect him. Like,
He's
he's not a trivial person.
You have, you're not a. I mean,
Yeah, in
let's
this
be clear.
example.
You'll bash the living daylights out of me.
Sure,
okay?
right, yeah.
You go to gym. I've never seen the inside of a gym in my life.
Yes.
Okay.
You see the inside of diabetes. Sorry. Right.
Now.
But you have a point, right?
Now.
Respect the man.
Now,
Ah.
what? This was done at the behest of the US military-industrial complex, because the more people that come into NATO, they have standards and things where you have to buy American. There are certain things you only buy American. George Soros was the second part of all of this. You see, he loved Boris Yeltsin. When Russia was collapsing under Boris, you remember the kind of meltdowns, every 2 years there would be a fiscal crisis. People were dirt poor under Boris Yeltsin. They didn't even know where the next meal was going to come from in Russia.
I actually don't, because I was not.
You're too young. He loved that because the market distortions were so great. All his crony capitalist friends could buy up oil and gas and whatever monopolies. He used to destroy governments in Eastern Europe and Russia to do things like this. Now, he was that arm that was going on doing the so-called democracy promotion, which was basically promoting anybody who was close to him, invariably horribly corrupt people, who would encourage market distortions where he could make money. His problem with Modi right now is
He can't reliably distort Indian markets.
Indian markets are distorted. But he can't make a killing out of it.
Yeah, he can't do it to his will.
He can't do it to his will.
Yeah, right. They're
He wants
distorted as their own default nature.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
Exactly. Right. Like there is no more corrupt US politician than Barack Obama and the Clintons. Clintons have set the record for corruption till the Obamas came and defeated them at their own game. Okay. That is why he supports them. Does he take even half the measures against China that he will against Russia, Putin, or any of them? Why? Because there is too much riding on the Chinese market that he can't afford to
Mess with.
Especially given the high-risk nature of his investments.
I actually am so interested in this mysterious figure because it's not just the Indian discourse that will paint him as the boogeyman who tries to move things on a national scale.
He's a Jew. He was a member of the Nazi party. As a kid,
Right.
he actually joined Nazis grabbing Jewish homes. He was dobbing out Jews to the Nazis, bro. This fellow needs to be in jail.
Well,
This is why Israel, this plus lots of other reasons, is why he's the only Jew who's banned from traveling to Israel. In his own native Hungary, there's a pending arrest warrant out against him.
it's so interesting to me.
Malaysia, there's a pending arrest warrant against him. They'll arrest him if he lands up there. How is it that all these 4 countries are wrong and you are right?
Well, you could make the same argument about Adani, no? Like, how is it that Australia, Haifa, Kenya...
But Australia has not charged Adani with anything. Israel, that Haifa port project is totally non-controversial. Kenya has done it after one YouTuber, he's some kind of a social media whatever,
Like a Dhruv
Rathi, has put out something which is yet to be verified, by the way. Koi proof nahi hai, by the way.
So I was talking to you about what we've seen in response from Russia now that Ukraine's kind of gone. Ukraine released these missiles at the behest of NATO encouragement, and then Russia responded with something we've never seen before in warfare. Pull up that footage. Do you have that footage? Bro, it looks like alien technology.
It's called Orezhnik. Orezhnik. This is it landing inside.
What is this? We've never seen this. This does not look like a drone strike.
You can. Just Google, go up. No, stop. Go up.
Sorry, you're scared, buddy. You look scared.
Put MIRV, all capitals, MIRV, space, re-entry, REENTRY, and videos. Okay. Now, this is MIRV re-entry. These multiple independently...
These are like standard missiles we imagine from TV.
So one missile has 5 to 12 warheads inside, and they are individually targetable.
ठीक.
So it's
Also
not
go
new
on Twitter
technology.
and look. Twitter पे तेरे को मिलेगा वो footage जो मैं बात कर रहा हूँ. Because the footage, let me describe it for people. It's basically as if something is descending from the clouds. Boom, 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 boom. And it just does not look like anything we know of. I don't think drones were ever like this. नहीं ये नहीं है यार ये नहीं.
नहीं वो रुको. I want to see this is just one re-entry. But multiple independent re-entry is very similar. You'll see lots of things. It'll be like a meteor shower.
Right.
10, 12 things will come down because of the heat of the re-entry, because they are not powered at this point.
Sure.
It's just
They're
pure
falling.
energy, speed, acceleration coming through. They independently target and they
Explode.
This turns out isn't even a ballistic missile. We don't know the exact nature of this missile. We first thought it was a ballistic missile because the American release said that Russia is going to fire an ICBM, an intercontinental ballistic missile. This may be look, even hypersonic missiles, the initial launch these days has to be some kind of a ballistic launch, because other than that, you're not able to
Provide enough acceleration.
provide the initial acceleration.
Sure.
And then it becomes the sort of the hypersonic dynamics.
वो ढूंढता रहेगा. Keep telling me. हाँ, तू ढूंढता रहे उस पे एक बार Twitter पे ढूंढ. हाँ.
And the point of it is, it's a very, very expensive missile. Now, this is where signaling comes in. Russia wanted to show America, you've crossed a red line. We're putting this missile out. It's a very expensive missile. It is a very deadly missile. You can't intercept it. If it has nuclear warheads on it, you're finished.
Right.
But imagine you're sitting in America. You want to exacerbate tensions.
Right.
You want the tensions to go up.
Right.
Your military-industrial complex and George Soros are invested in tensions going up.
Right.
You're going, bro, the missile that I lobbed at Russia, or got the Ukrainians to lob at Russia, was just about $1 or $2 million. He's just used $100 million missile against me. I am a $30 trillion economy. You are a $1 trillion economy. I need to make you use a lot more of these missiles.
So they will just scapegoat Ukraine to cause trouble for Trump and to feed the military industrial.
Yeah.
Because I am dead sure Trump might still have interest in the Middle Eastern war a little bit, or whatever that project is, but he will definitely shut down the Ukraine-Russia issue. That seems to be front and center of his foreign policy right now. This is clear ethical malpractice as far as
it is, boss, like we've discussed, this notion that the OECD and whatever can control malpractice, absolute rubbish.
Yeah.
Do you know the number of European commissioners who have severe conflicts of interest who will never get prosecuted? Canadian Defence Minister Anita Anand and her husband's quack COVID monopoly that he got. the Obama and Hillary Clinton's own links to all kinds of shady businessmen, to Jeffrey Epstein, whatever there was.
Right, yeah.
It is the dirtiest, and nobody wants to investigate all the people that Hillary Clinton had killed.
Nobody wants to investigate who shot at Donald Trump. Like, think about it. Like, it's a very ironic
And imagine, twice. And you look at the video of that Donald Trump shooting. Are you willing to tell me that the Secret Service was so incompetent? And they deliberately posted a female guard who couldn't even put her gun into her holster.
No, bro. There is something, like, you cannot spot that, bro. You would deport me without me trying.
Yeah.
Look at this. What is this? This looks like an alien.
These are MIRVs. So the way an MIRV works is one missile goes up. It's got anywhere between 3 to 12 to sometimes even 15, 16 payloads inside. It's the same as a multiple payload rocket launch. You know, ISRO, one rocket launches 5, 6 satellites in space.
Sure.
It's the same thing. It's launching those same 12 to 16 satellites, each of which independently re-enter and are able to target with great precision.
And so this is something new they've used, no? Like,
It's something completely new because it's the first time. When we thought it was a ballistic missile, this is the first time an intercontinental ballistic missile has been used in a conventional strike. And it's the first time there have been conventional MIRVs used in an actual military situation. Testing mein to bahut ho chuka hai. And it's the it's the first time we've seen MIRVs repeatedly hit the same place with such great precision. It was 3 or 4 firsts all happening at the same time.
Yeah, so interesting. You think any or all of this ends with Trump coming in? Like, I feel like a little bit of sentiment.
Look, Trump now, I really think when this happened, Trump should have called up. He should have publicly said, I'm going to call up Putin now and de-escalate this.
Yeah, it would have been such a good
I don't know why he's not doing it.
You think he's compromised?
Because if they're trying to... No, I don't.
Yeah.
But if they're trying to sabotage him, he needs to counter-sabotage them.
And he's not stupid.
He's not stupid.
So he's going to play
So
back.
he's kind of done that in the Adani case by saying these judges are all radical left loonies and we're going to get rid of them. But he should have done that. I think that stigma of Russia collusion is holding his hand back. He should have just said, yo, Putin, bro, just hold off. These guys are deliberately trying. I'm going to end the war when I come. Just hang on till
I would imagine.
And they could have accused him of whatever, but they couldn't do diddly squat to him.
You think the PMOs called up Trump after this Adani indictment or will and be like, hey boss, like, you know, he's one of our...
I doubt that very much.
Because it's not big enough?
Because had they done it, the US would have almost certainly been surveilling that call and they would have put it out saying, oh, look. And Modi won't do it. Because everybody who knows anything knows that Adani isn't a Modi asset. He's not a BJP asset. He's a...
government asset.
He's a government of India asset. I have always been anti-conspiracy theory. Do you think that the China Soros against Adani logic, have I explained it in a way that is not conspiracy theory?
Okay. You know, look, first of all, I'll begin by saying this, right? I am very pragmatically grounded in the fact that bribery is not an exception. It's actually the rule, right?
Look, I'm not saying that bribery may not have happened.
Sure.
Okay.
Right.
My issue is, A, prove it. और तू कौन सा ये है मेरे को
बोलने वाला अपने गिरबान में झांक के दे.
Exactly.
ठीक है. दूसरी बात ये है, मैं ये नहीं मान सकता that China is this passive builder of manufacturing resources. No, China is an active geopolitical force and it will do disinformation
and it
campaigns.
is a malignant force.
Yeah, and it's actually super self-serving. It has no cooperative interests whatsoever. Even Russia has more cooperative interests than China, right? The third thing I know is that there is an unusual focus, a needless kind of war in the Ukraine-Russia region. If the war is not needless, the amplification of it is the way it is happening, right? And I also understand that I'm always, conscious of accepting that, oh, listen, India is too great. That is why people are looking at us all the time, because I'm very well aware of all the ways in which India is not great.
We're not great.
Right.
The thing is, both Hindenburg and Soros, and we still don't know who Hindenburg are. Soros may or may not, because they do very similar things, short selling and exploiting market distortions. The point here is, They are not doing it because we're great. They're doing it because they've seen market opportunity and distorted markets, which they are trying to capitalize on. Malaysia, when Soros destroyed Malaysia in the 2000s or 1990s, I forget when, Malaysia wasn't a great country. They still destroyed it.
Sure, I follow that. I'm talking about Twitter pleb argument where, oh, look, we are becoming so great. People who've never stepped out of India thinking we are becoming great are, I don't think you deserve.
Did I ever say we were great?
No, not you. I am also very confident that America is no paragon of non-corruption and objective judicial processes. I know how this works. I mean, American judicial process is also very media-fied. Like, you know OJ, you know all this stuff happens. I am very willing to buy the argument that there is more to it than we know. But I'm also kind of getting in that place where I, as a passive observer, where I'm not constantly tuned into media all the time, where I'm like, why is Adani always in the news for all this wrong stuff? Like, is there something we are not seeing from the other side?
No. So why is Adani in the news for all this wrong stuff? I'll tell you why. Because the Ambanis went into, like we discussed, services and retail. He's the only one doing hard manufacturing and things like that. He's the one who's being sent as the frontier core, the pivot core, that does all the skirmishing, the initial skirmishing, detects the opposition and attacks it immediately. Okay.
So he's the front line.
He's the front line.
Against the Chinese investment sort of situation.
Chinese investment situation, right? Which is why. And he's the new guy in the market. The new guy is who you attack the most in order to get maximum benefits from.
Sure. And so, look, I feel no pressure to decide, although, you know, before we were doing this, I was watching a few videos, doing my research, and I was like, I wonder how he's going to come out of this. Like, how are you going to...
I have no doubt how Adani is going to come out of this. His stocks are going to go up.
How are you going to defend it? Because it's from the framing of the media narrative, it's a slam dunk. The way I am seeing news pop up about it, it's like they have Excel sheets and they have scribbled notes and they know they've got these people dead to rights. And so I was like, I wonder how Abhijit plans on saying anything new about this at all. So now that I've spoken to you, I see it. Whether I'm convinced 100%, no. Whether I'm convinced 0%, no. I'm closer to like a 60-70%. And I just never trust anything at all when it comes to this stuff.
And remember, the problem with this stuff is when you hurl muck at someone, disproving falsehood
is a lot
takes
more
a
energy.
lot. So, for example, Prakhar, you're an idiot.
I know.
Okay. Now, how do you disprove it? There isn't even a methodology to disprove it, bro.
Brother, I know I've been through this very situation where I had to disprove not one but multiple things and therefore I had to go to court. So I completely understand this.
Yeah.
Like, I'm with you on this. We live in an era where nobody really cares but people only passively see. So hurl as much muck as you can because it'll stick somewhere in some people's head and it'll change public opinion. Disinformation is easier because there's information overload. And so that's what I kind of mean is like, I'm tempted to say, because Adani is Indian, I would much rather represent Indian interests globally. That there's
Listen,
nothing wrong.
let me make one thing very clear. I am unapologetic about Adani doing what every other Western corporation has done for Western geopolitical interests. I don't care how he gets the contract, but bloody bring the contract home.
That's a very good point.
I will go after Adani for losing the Kenya project, but I will not go after Adani for doing whatever he needed to do for getting that project.
Sure.
Okay?
Right.
If he loses, I will attack Adani. As long as Adani keeps getting, I don't care. I don't want to know what he does. Because he does what he does for ultimately my country's interests.
I think this is where the Overton window in India has also shifted with guys like you, because when you see American discourse, or for that matter, American discourse, European discourse, that sort of Eurocentric discourse, they speak of ideals, and this is ideally incorrect. We are very pragmatic. Bro, I don't give a shit if he has to pay a bribe.
They are also very pragmatic.
They're conveniently selfish.
They mask it in a whole load of mumbo jumbo.
Sure. That's how they convince their populations. And I feel like we are very pragmatic. यार bro, कौन सा आदमी bribe नहीं दे रहा? अब वो दे के हमारे घर
और वो भी भाई अफ्रीका में.
हाँ ठीक है, मतलब वो तो bribe capital of the world है, ठीक है उस मामले में.
ठीक है.
तो bribe दे के हमारे घर आए. दे तो सब.
And mind you, Indian investment in Africa has always yielded local jobs out there. Kenya has hurt themselves very, very badly. Chinese investment yields no local jobs, it yields no capacity building, because when Chinese companies go in, they bring in Chinese equipment, they bring Chinese operators, they bring Chinese builders, they build it for you, give it to you, and they walk out. When Indian operators go in there, we hire local people, we train up local people, we incentivize local businesses, we get local suppliers, we do everything locally. Do we make a profit? Of course we make a profit. This is why Indian investment has not produced the kind of pushback that Chinese investment has. And I'm telling you, even when this entire Kenya issue is resolved, you'll find that Adani will come out of it smelling like roses. They won't be able to prove diddly squat against him.
Okay, well, this is great. I think we should do this every month. We should just pick up whatever's going on and talk about it. I enjoy the conspiracy more than the non-conspiracy. Like I just genuinely...
And next time, if you could bring this preacher or whoever is to convert
to turn
me.
you straight? Okay, let's do it, dude. Thank you so much. It's been what, 2 hours? 150? Yeah, that's what I thought.